Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Game Breakdown. I'm Christopher Solomon, and today we are looking at a two-player only game called Caper Europe. It's put out by Keymaster Games, which has done the Parks series, which if you follow this channel at all, you'll know that I'm a big fan of. So when I saw their name attached to this, I was very interested. A coworker actually mentioned it to me and said he was looking at getting it for his wife and him to play. And the same day he mentioned that, I ran across a copy of it at Barnes & Noble and thought, hey, this must be the universe telling me I need to buy this game. So my wife and I have been checking it out. It's really fun. It's probably one of the only two-player games I actually own. We don't have a lot of only two-player games for some reason, but I'm glad I picked this up. The gist of it is that you will use cards that you see down here. You'll build crews, which are thieves and gear, at these different locations signified by these cards. You have 3 each game, and you're trying to kind of do a tug-of-war with these little tokens to end up with it furthest on your side when the game ends to win the location. A lot of victory points that you can get from the gear, from the thieves that you play. The main mechanic that makes this really cool is that when you play your card, as soon as the other player plays their card, you hand the deck over. So it's sort of a different way to use drafting. I've seen that in like 7 Wonders where you pass the deck around the table. Sometimes, depending on how many people you have, you might not really ever get the cards back. So I like how this, when you're passing it back and forth, you know what you're giving the person and you know what you're getting back. So it adds a lot of nice decision points as far as, do I play this right now and hope that this other card I need makes it back to me. You can discard for coins, which can kind of mess up the other person's strategy. So there's a lot of give and take, and so far I've really liked it. So in the video, you can check out the chapters down below. We'll do a setup. I'll do a gameplay where I'll kind of go over the rules and play 1 or 2 rounds. And then there are some different city cards that you shuffle in, and I go over all 4 of the cities at the end of the video. So if you're just interested in knowing how those cards differ from the rest, you can jump straight to it using the chapter navigation down in the comments. Before we go any further, I'd just like to remind you to check out the website, boardgamebreakdown.com. We have a written version up where I kind of go into some different details that I don't do in the video, so check that out. We also have plenty of other reviews up. Love to hear your comments on the website if you want to check that out. You can also find us on Instagram at board.game.breakdown. Obviously subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can keep getting content. And lastly, we are in a part of the Amazon affiliate link program. So on our website, if there are products that are offered at Amazon that we are reviewing, there's a little link there that you can use to purchase it from Amazon if that's where you want to purchase it, and that just helps support our site, gives us a chance to continue to make this content for you all out there. And so if anything you read on the site, any YouTube videos you like, you want to purchase, it's a great way to support us. If not, not a big deal. Go support your local game store if that is what you like doing, but it is there for convenience if you want to buy from Amazon. So I think that's enough of that. I think I am ready to get into the 2-player only game, Caper Europe. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and set this game up, and unlike some of my other videos, I have actually relocated outdoors. It feels pretty good here in August in Georgia. It's not 100 degrees anymore, but hopefully the ambient noises of the cicadas and other things isn't too loud, but I wanted to do something a little different here. So here we have the box for Caper Europe. Pretty small. It has a lot packed into it, namely because of the wonderful insert. Here's instructions. But you get this insert in here created by Game Trays, which they've done some other Keymaster stuff like parks. So you know you're getting a great product. We're going to go ahead and set the board out. So there's the board. We'll go over the different locations here shortly. You get 2 cards as references. Put those off to the side. Get your score pad. Put that off to the side. And then this top layer of the insert, there's a few other little pieces you get. I'll get this out of here. So see, it lifts up like that. So you have your round tracker. Looks like a little thief. So he's going to go over here in the very top slot of your round track. And then you have these 3 pieces, which are the caper tokens with these shifty looking eyes on them. And what you're going to do is you're going to place 1 on the middle of each of these little tracks for the locations. And these are going to be what you and your opponent move back and forth in order to win the location. Alright, so now underneath in the insert, you have your 10 coins. These are a finite resource, so you can run out, and there's some rules on that, so you just set them over to the side. Put those 10 over there. You have these hexagon tokens that are the stolen goods. So what you do is you go ahead and put them face down like so, and mix them up. And then you're going to take 4 and put them face up on their little slots. So you can kind of do them in whatever order. And there's 3 different tokens. There's these diamonds, there's paintings, and there's antiques. They all pretty much do the same thing, but you're trying to collect sets of all 3 of them, like 1 of each, to get the most points. So you get those out there, and then everything else left in the box are your cards. So you'll see down here, this is like your core deck. So you've got 3 different types of cards. You have they also have caper. You have gear cards, which are these ones with the aqua bluish green backs here. And on the flip side, they have gear that you will use to enhance your crews, different colors. So you're going to set those off to the side for a second. You also have thief cards, which are the white backs. They have the different thieves on them that you'll be placing out in your crews. And then you have locations, and these have this pinkish back. And they are the locations that will get placed on the board that you and your opponent will be fighting over. Alright, so then what you're left with are these 4 city decks. Each of these city decks plays a little differently. For the playthrough sample, we're going to use this one for Paris, which is the one considered the easiest. And then if you skip forward in the chapters on the video, at the end I'm going to just do a quick detail of all 4 cities and kind of what they do. So when you get your city deck out, you have this top card here, kind of looks like what they have around money. But on this side, it gives you details on the actual city, kind of what's different. So it says Paris, earn extra points for stolen goods and score more for collecting Paris cards, which will be blue. They'll kind of match this color here. And then there's a new icon here for each stolen good in your hideout. If you have that icon, you'll score a point. So that might not make any sense to you at the moment, but when we start playing it will. So this is just kind of informational. It can go off to the side. So just like the core deck, in your Paris cards, sorry, I was not the pairs cards. You have all three types. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 locations. So you're going to stick those there. You have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gear cards, and then you should have 3 thieves. So what we're going to do is we're going to just mix those in, and we're going to go and shuffle them up with the core deck. Now with the locations, you're going to take and flip over 3 of them. So that's a Paris card because it's got a blue icon. That's a Paris card. And then this is a standard one. So you're going to play with 3 locations each game. And the rest of the locations we're going to put back in the box because you do not need those. You're going to take your deck of caper card or your thief cards. Sorry, I'm going to keep calling them caper cards because they say caper right there. So again, this is the core deck plus the 5 we got from our Paris deck. So you shuffle those up and they're going to go right there on that block. And then you're going to take your 6 gear cards that are in here and mix them in. And I'm going to quickly shuffle them like this because you do have a lot of gear cards because each turn everyone's going to get 6 gear cards. And then the gear cards come over here and go in this slot right there. So the informational card I'm going to put back in. Everything else I'll pack back up real quick. And that is set up and you're ready to play. Obviously it's a 2-player game, so you're only ever going to have 2 players. I will note that we do house rule giving out a coin to each player before they start. I'll kind of explain why when we get into the gameplay, but the instructions don't tell you to do that. If you want to follow the instructions the way they are in the rule book, don't do that, but my wife and I like doing it that way. So that's all there is to set up. Easy enough. So let's get started on playing. Alright, so our game's set up and we are ready to play. If you skip this setup by jumping to this chapter, then I do want to make mention that I do play usually with a house rule where you have 1 gold coin that you start on each side. So you might be confused as to why that is there, but that's how we like to play. So we are going to play like that. Also, I have the camera situated so that you're going to be able to see this side of the board a lot better than you see that side. So I'll do the explanation, kind of what's going on over here, and then I'll just quickly play that side, and we'll kind of hop back and forth there quickly when we take the second player's turn. But I'll go over everything here. So over here you will see the round tracker, and you see that it alternates between white and aqua, and you'll see here that there's a little arrow for each thing pointing to who starts the round. You will also see that there are little pips, 4 there, 3 there, 2 here, and then 6 on each of those, directing you to know how many cards you're going to deal out each time. So this first round is always a thief round, so we're going to pick these cards up here, and it has 4 pips, and this is going to be the starter over here. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, and then place them back here. Alright, and so this person is going to go first. So these are their cards. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay them here, and then we'll kind of talk about some of the emblems. So the thieves are all this kind of grayish background up here. That will make a difference when it comes to scoring, because gear cards are colors, thieves are this kind of thing, they call it cream in the instruction booklet. But let's start out here, and you'll see that they have these 2 shifty eye looking icons, and remember, if you saw the setup, those match these caper tokens. So what's going to happen is we're going to pick 1 thief, and we're going to put it at one of these locations, and each location can have spots for 3 thieves. So 3 here, 3 here, 3 there. So when you lay a thief down, like if we were to play the barber at the chapel, then you'd activate this right here, and you would get to move this token 2 times towards you. All right. Same as if you decide to play the barber over here, then you'd move this token twice towards you. So that's how this caper icon is going to work. Similarly, we have the mime, who also has 1 caper icon. So wherever he goes, that icon or the little token is going to move once, and then you see that, and that means you get a bonus point at the end of the game for all the cream color, basically thief cards you have at that location. So each location, all the cards that you play there, whether they're thieves or eventually gear in the second round, that is considered your crew. So you'll have 1 crew here, 1 crew here, 1 crew here. So I'll be using that verbiage moving forward so that you are aware of what's going on. There are also cards that look like this, the actress, and she shows up here what kind of sets you want to collect. So the gear cards are colored, and what this says is for every set of 1 yellow card and then 1 other any color gear card in her crew, you're going to get 2 points at the end of the game. And then lastly, we have the madam, which you'll see she has some blue iconography, and down here there's the blue Paris, so she's from that Paris deck we used. So for every blue card in her crew at the end of the game, you're going to score a point. And then she also has this little burn icon with an X over it for blue cards. So what that means is there is a card that people can play to destroy one of your items, and if she is played out, any blue cards in her crew can't be destroyed. All right, so we're going to select one of these. At this point, the other player has no idea what cards we have, because normally we'd be holding them in our hands. So let's look at these locations real quick, because one of the big points of this game is to get these caper tokens to your side for when the game ends, that you'll score these locations, because each person is going to score one of the locations, or if the caper token ends up here in the middle, nobody scores. So let's look at the locations real quick. So Notre Dame here, so you'll see up here there is a base amount of points. Sorry, let me get that focus. It's a bit of a glare. So you get 3 points, and then you get 2 points for every artifact or antique that's in your hideout at the end of the game. So if you are gunning for this location, then you want to probably start collecting these antique goods, because they will get you the extra points. This is Moulin Rouge, so 5 points, and also you'll score a bonus point for every thief at this location. And then you'll also see there's a new icon, or like it's dark gray down here. That means you get to trigger that whenever you place a crew member there, a thief, whether you're winning that location or not. So when you place a thief at this location, you get to move the caper token for every blue card that you've got there. And then lastly, the stock card that we end up choosing this time is the chapel. So it gets you 2 points, but then additionally it'll give you 2 bonus points for every thief at that location. So let's do this. Let's take the barber and we're going to place it here. We're going to go and move that 2 times. All right. So then these go off to the side, and then the next player would go. So like I said, I'm going to just kind of quickly look at these cards. One thing I'll note is that the thieves also have, some of them have a number right here. That's how many points you score for her being on your side of the table. So you see she's kind of weak in that she only gives you 1 caper movement, but she gives you 3 points at the end of the game. So let's put the saint there at the chapel. That seems fitting, and move that once. So now what happens? This person takes their thief cards, hands them over to this player, and this player hands theirs over there. So at this point now, everyone has seen the thief cards that are going to happen this round. So there's really no unknown knowledge at this point. So let's look at this. So I kind of like the chef, who's going to get us every time a blue card is played at his location. It's going to let us move the caper token. I kind of like that being teamed up with this. So I'm going to pick the chef and place him there at Moulin Rouge. Hop back over here. Look at these. So let's say that this player, they really want to get this chapel. So they're going to put the mime there. They're going to go ahead and move that once. And then remember, it's a bonus point for every thief. So there's already 2 locations there. I mean, 2 thieves at that location. So that's some bonus points racking up for at the end of the game. All right, so we're back on this side of the table. Back to these 2. Now what's going to happen is when we're down to 1 card, we're going to discard that. So you're not going to play out every card. So we know basically we're going to pick one of these and the other one's going to get discarded. We're not going to hand it back to that side of the table. So, let's stick with the blue theme here and let's just put the madam there. Maybe we can get some synergy there. We'll see how it goes. So she gets discarded, and this is the discard section over here. This section right here is where you're going to keep hideout tokens. Stolen good tokens. So let's look at this. I think the auctioneer, who he gives you, lets you pick any stolen good. He's going to come down here, and because this player might eventually want this location, if they can win it, they're going to go ahead and grab one of the antique stolen goods, and that goes into their hideout, which is right there. And again, this discard goes there. So we're done with that round. We move down here, and now we're on a gear round, and every gear round you're going to get 6 gear cards. So we're going to pick these up. Put those down. Alright, you'll also look at the arrow. It's pointed this way. So for that, we're going to let this individual go first. Alright, so here are the cards that they've got. So right off the bat, you'll see there's like some money symbols up here in the top left. So that's how much they cost. So you'll see this person only has 1 card that doesn't cost anything. That's why I like playing with 1 token, gold token starting out, because it allows them to buy a little more things. But what you're going to do with the gear tokens is you're able to play up to 3 gear on each thief. So like I said, this individual, we're going to go quickly, but what she wants to do is play that and use her gold coin because it costs $1. That there, and she gets to take another antique. So eventually, this player is going to really want to get Notre Dame, because if not, these were a little bit of a waste over here. Alright, so jumping back to our main player, we're going to look through his, and I'll go over some of the icons. Alright, so you've seen this one before. This lets you take any stolen good that you want from that location. These, when you place them down, let you move the token 1 time. The caper token, sometimes you might have multiple tokens. These yellow cards give you money, so that gives us 1 coin and 1 point at the end of the game. This Paris one, special one, gives you 3 coins. And then you've got this one that gives you it's a blue card, but it gives you a point for every blue card. So remember how we have this location happening where we really want these blue cards. So we're going to play this. I'm going to show you how that works. So 1, it costs $1, which you'll see up in the top left. So we'll take this and put it over there, and then we're going to place it down. So it's going to trigger a couple things. 1, if we play a blue card at this location, we move the caper once. That triggers that action there. Also, we have to trigger this because for every blue card, the chef moves the caper token, so we move that. Now, we could have placed this on Madam, and we still activate that because they're in the same crew. So you don't have to place it on the chef. I just chose to do that. So you'll see we got to move that 2 there. So that is helpful. And then you'll also notice that once you get the caper token down here, if you were to end the game right now, you would get 1 bonus point for having it at this level, or 2 bonus points. So there is some reward there for being able to move it further down. So then we would trade gear tokens, or gear cards, sorry. We'd come back over here. So let's say he doesn't have any money. He just wants to throw that down, move that back 1 notch because he doesn't like how we are moving it so much. And then we're back over here. So let's see. I don't know if I'm going to get to use this in this round, but I am going to talk about this card in a second. But let's see how it works if we don't have any coins. So we have no coins. Yeah, we could play this card, but I don't really want to. Let's say I want to take this time to get some money. So let's say I want to discard this because I don't want to give it back to the other player and have a free movement. So we're going to put it over there, and you get 1 coin. So at any time you can discard a card and get a coin. That's a nice way to make it so your opponents might not get the cards that you really don't want them to get. Alright, so he's going to have to do the same thing because he doesn't have any coins. So let's throw this here, and we'll give him a coin. Alright, back over here. So I want some coins so I can show you how to play that that red card. So we're going to put this down. We're going to put it on her. And that gives her 3 coins. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to pass that back. It's his turn, so he has a coin, so he can do something. He's going to place this down. Let's put it here. Oh, whoops. I put that in the wrong spot. You cannot place a gear where there is no thief. That's silly, huh? So we're going to move that down there, and we're going to move this one back where it was. Okay, so anyways, we're back at this point, and he's going to take another token, and he'll get a point at the end of the game. Alright, so back over here. So let's talk about this card here. So this little fire card, it lets you destroy an item on their side of the table. Alright, so if we place it down, it's going to destroy an item on the opposite side of that location. So our option is the barber. If we placed it in one of these, they have no items over there to destroy. We can't destroy this item because we have no thieves. And like you just saw, you cannot place a gear on a location without a thief. So we're basically got to do that. This is going to cost us 2 coins. And what's going to happen is the bottom cards are the only ones eligible to be destroyed. So there could be some other thieves and gear, and I would get to choose which one that is destroyed. But in this case, it's only the one. So that brings up a point where if you have a gear here, it is protecting this card, any that are there. So I'm going to destroy this one. So we take it. It goes into his discard. It also is going to, whatever the benefit was, which was moving the caper token, it's going to revert that. So I'm going to get to move that back there. So sometimes you get to destroy, like, let's pretend this was the item that I destroyed. They would have to give that antique token and put it back at this location. Sometimes it is a question mark. which means it could have been any of these. If that's the case, then that player, not the player who uses this, but the player who's reverting, gets to choose which good to put back there. So that was how that worked. So then we would trade it one more time, and this player is going to put this out there, and remember, discard this one, and that cost him $1. And I still have $2, and let's see. So, you know, even though there are no antiques at this location, if I win this location, all it cares about is antiques in my hideout. So I can actually spin these two, and I'm going to place this here and take an antique from there. So that if I win this location, it will still trigger or give me points. So at that point, you would move down here, and then you would give out 3 thieves, then 6 gear, 2 thieves, and 6 more gear, and then the game's over. So the way the scoring would work, let's say that we stopped right now, you would check out these, and whatever is on your side, you win that location. So I would say, okay, I get this location, I get this location, and this player gets this location. You then score the location points, so that would be like 3 points, 5, so 8. I get 2 for these things, so 10. I would get an extra point for every thief at this location, so 11, 12. So that would be my location points, would be 12. You then count up your thief, so it's 1, 2, and then I get a point for every blue card in this crude. 3, 4, so 4 for the thieves. I think I said 12, so we're up to 16. Oh, I forgot, we also get these, so 17, 18. And then any points on our gear, which we don't have any, so I'm still at 17, I think. And then for these, you get 2 points for a single. If you had 2 types, so say you had that, you get 5 points. And if you have a whole set like that, you get 9 points. So I think I would end up with 19 points. That's low, but we didn't play the whole game. So I just wanted you to see how the scoring works. The coins do not get you anything at the end of the game. There is one interesting thing about the coins is if for some reason, let's pretend that I had a couple coins and this guy had all the rest, and I played this card and I need 3 coins, but there are no coins in the pool over here, I would actually get to take 3 from him and they would swing over to me. The caveat with that is you either take the coins from that person until you hit the amount you're supposed to take, or until you're tied with them coin wise. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if for some reason I had to get 4 coins, I wouldn't be able to take a 4th one, because now that gives me 6 and he has 4, and that's against the rules. It can only be up to equal amount as your opponent has when you're stealing. So that's how the game works. Hopefully that gives you a quick idea of the back and forth of the game. So now we will take a quick minute to go over the 4 different city cards and kind of show you the special things that each one of those do. So we're going to go over the first city here, which is Paris, which is the one that we used in the gameplay. But I'll reiterate the scoring conditions if you skip through all that and you jumped right to the city explanations. So I'm going to read, remember there's this little explanation card for each city. So it says Paris, earn extra points for stolen goods and score more for collecting Paris cards. And then there is an extra little icon that looks like this that says for each stolen good in your hideout, score a point. Alright, so for all the city cards, you're going to get 3 thieves, you're going to get 5 locations, you're going to get 6 gear. So we'll kind of go over them real quick. Some of them are going to be the same, so we won't spend too much time on that, but let's look at these. So you have the artist. So this is that extra icon they were just talking about. So if you have him in one of your crews, you're going to get an extra point for every stolen good. The chef, which you would have seen in the gameplay section, every time a blue card is played to his location, you get to move the caper. And the madam gives you an extra point for every blue card at her location, and she also stops the opponent from destroying any blue cards at her location. You have your different locations, so you'll see that these all have one of the icons, so either the paintings, the diamond, the antique, or any, and you'll get 2 points or 1 point for any of the stolen goods. So like the little intro card said, you're really going to try to get more stolen goods in your hideout because they're going to score you extra points. And then Moulin Rouge here gives you an extra bonus point for every thief at that location, and it also allows you to move the caper every time a blue card is played. On the gear side, we have 4 of these plan caches, which are all going to just act as an extra point for every blue card in the crew. And then this one, when you play it, the Aqua Respirator gives you a chance to steal any good from that location, and then the Secret Shades gives you 3 coins. So that is the Paris, and that's typically thought of as the easiest one to do. So next we will move up 1 slot in difficulty, and we will look at Rome. Alright, so here's our second set of city cards. This is 1 notch up in the difficulty compared to the Paris deck, and this is the Rome deck. So again, from the little introductory card they give you, it says score more points from winning locations, swing the caper tracker in your favor, and discard gear for powerful effects. So there are a couple new icons with this, and I'm going to go over them as we go over the cards. So right off the bat, let's look at the driver card, and you'll see these 2 little icons up here that introduce the X that's on top of the purple and on top of the yellow. So what that means is for each purple card or yellow card in your discard, you move the caper tracker. So if you place him down at a location, you immediately get to count up your purples and yellows in your discard and move the caper tracker. And any new cards that get discarded that are purple or yellow, while you have the driver on the table, you get to move the caper token at his location. The Soprano, the pink cards here, you'll see that the Rome gear is pink. So for her, you get to move the caper tracker every time you play that, and every time you discard a red card. And then the Dawn allows you to move the caper tracker token on the caper tracker every time a thief is played at his location. So you'll see right off the bat that there's a lot of movement with the caper tokens in this city, as well as being a little more strategic on how you discard cards. So maybe you want to discard for money and get this extra bonus. So at the locations, a lot of them, we'll swap this here, because these top 4, you'll see all of these are similar in that they give you points at the end of the game, but then they also give you extra points, and you'll see another new little icon. So right above that, you see a little arrow pointing across the table. So instead of counting stuff up in your discard pile, that is for cards in your opponent's crew. So let's pretend that you won the Vatican. You get a bonus point for every green gear that is on that side of the table in your opponent's crew at the Vatican. And then you also get to move the caper token every time you play green. And then down here, this is the only one that's a little different from the rest in the city. The Trevi Fountain gives you 2 points for every set of a Rome card paired up with another color. Moving over to the gear, you see you have 4 shakedown belts. What they're going to do is let you move the caper token, and then the last new icon, which is that little thing right there. Basically, what that is telling you is if you win the location where this gear is at, you're going to score 2 bonus points for that location. This is going to give you a bonus point for any color card that's in your discard pile, and this is going to let you move 3 slots on the token. So I think it's ranked a little higher in the difficulty because there's going to be a lot of movement back and forth with the caper tokens. There's going to be a lot more thought going into how you're going to discard, as well as playing, trying to get locations that allow you to have points based off of what your opponent has. So you might be paying a little more attention to what your opponent has on their side of the table in this city when compared to the Paris. So that's it for that one. There's one more city that is equal to this in difficulty, and that will be Barcelona. All right, so here's the deck for Barcelona, which is rated equal difficulty to Rome, except in my opinion, this one's a little more complicated, only because some of the rules and how the cards interact are a little tricky, how they work. So the information from the introduction card says, play your cards right so a certain color is revealed at the end to earn special effects. And it's going to add a new icon, and we will use the anarchist as an example. So if you're looking at that, if you end the game with a purple card as a topmost card in this crew, you get to trigger the following effect. So the way you know which card you're trying to get at the bottom of the crew is what color the eyeball is. So this one is, if you have a purple at the end, imagine the gear on the anarchist, and you have a purple at the bottom somewhere in that crew, then you're going to score a bonus point for every purple card in your crew and in the opposing crew at that location. If you do not have a purple card at the bottom of any of the gear sets, then you get nothing except her standard 2 points. You have the pickpocket, which if you have a yellow at the bottom, then you get 3 points for every set of yellow plus 2 other colors. And then the surrealist, if a green is at the bottom, then you get a bonus point for every type of stolen good that you have. For the locations, these 3 up here are similar in that if you win the location and then you have an either purple, green, or yellow card at the bottom of the stack, then you gain 2 bonus points. You gain 2 bonus points for every one of those types of cards. And then you have these 2 down here that are similar in that for every red card in your crew or Barcelona card, which is orange, you get these points. And then also, while you're at this location, it protects Barcelona cards as well as green cards for this location from being burned. So you get a little more protection from those cards that deal damage. And then over here, you'll see the 4 up here called the mesmerizers. When you play them, you get to move the caper token once. And then what this says is if you have an orange card at the bottom of the stack, you get 3 points. Down here, move the caper token, and you get to protect all your orange cards at that location. And then this walled extractor acts like the red card in the core deck, where you get to destroy one of the items on that side. So I think this one's a little more difficult than the others because trying to figure out what card you want at the bottom of the deck, it just doesn't all the time work out, especially when you're really trying to play gear to certain locations to win the locations. It's just tricky. So if you like a puzzle, this might be the city that you want to play with. All right, so we're at our last city deck here as part of the Caper Europe game, and this is London. I really like this one. I like the artwork. I like the artwork on the whole game, but this really gives off vibes from the movie Snatch. If you've ever seen it, it's kind of pretty old at this point. Guy Ritchie, but like this guy definitely makes me think of someone from that. Same with this being one of the guys that Brad Pitt's character might have boxed in the bare knuckle boxing. Anyways, so the point of this city, it says gain more coins and launder them to score points and affect the coin supply. So it introduces two new icons, but it also introduces a whole new way to deal with the money. So what we're going to do is we will start out with, let's see, let's start out with a gear this time, because I think that it's smart to go ahead and talk about this first icon. So whenever you see this H here, what that means is when you play the laundromatic, you're going to take a token out of the supply and you're going to put it in your hideout. And then this is telling you you're going to get a point at the end of the game for every coin in your hideout. So why is that important? Well, if you watch the gameplay portion of the video, you'll know that the 10 coins you have cannot be replenished. So as you take them out of the supply and you're keeping them in your hideout, it's not coins that you can use to purchase gear, but it is also not coins that your opponent can use. So it actually will probably force you and your opponent to steal more coins back and forth from each other, which is a little lacking in the other cities. When I play with my wife, we've only experienced that action about one time. So I like how this city kind of forces you to do that. So you'll see you have 4 of those cards. You have this card down here, the Hollow Book, which allows you to move the caper once and then also take a coin from the supply and put it in your hideout. And then the Signal Jammer at the end of the game, whatever location you've played this, you're going to get a point for every thief on your side of the board and a thief on the opponent's side of that location. So let's move over to the thieves. So you got the Boxer. When you play him, every token you already have in your hideout, you're going to move the caper one time, and then any future tokens that you place in your hideout will trigger the caper. The Royal is actually going to give you money, not to your hideout, but to your actual bank, for every thief at the location she's played at. And then the Bookie is going to give you an extra point at the end of the game for every coin in your hideout. Lastly, moving to locations, we have these that are fairly similar in that you'll score a bonus point at the end of the game for whichever color is designated here, but you're going to score it for every color of that card, or card of that color on your side of the table, as well as the opponent's side of the table at that location. And then for each of these, when you play a card there, you're going to either get an extra coin, or in the case of Big Ben, every black London card that's played at that location, you're going to get to move the caper token. So that's even more coins that are coming into your bank in order to spend on the gear. And then lastly, you have Oxford Street, which for every coin in your hideout at the end of the game, you'll get 2 points. And then for every black London card you play at this location, you'll score, or you'll get a coin into your bank. So that's the last city. It's rated the most difficult, though personally I don't think it is. I really like this one. I like the back and forth with the money, and it's not quite as hard to understand the scoring as maybe compared to the Barcelona deck, which gets a little tricky. So I like this one, but I definitely recommend you try all of them. Definitely start with the Paris deck. That will just get you understanding the game as a whole before you start kind of tossing in these little details from the other decks. So that's all I got for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, thank you for watching. Please check out the website, boardgamebreakdown.com. We'll have a text review of Caper Europe up, as well as all sorts of other written reviews that we've got. subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can keep getting the content. We're trying to put out a video about once a week if we can, if not at least once every other week, as we have time to do that. Check us out on Instagram. It's board.game.breakdown. Let us know if you'd like to see any certain games reviewed. If you have any comments for us, throw them out there. Let us know what you think about our content. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you later.